interrupt this Shuntcast to bring you an important announcement. Now join our royal correspondent live at Buckingham Palace.
Yes, thank you, Dale. It has been brought to the attention of Her Royal Majesty the Queen of Shuntposting that Will Bales is considering allowing the peasants to purchase Hypershock jackets, subject to satisfactory demand. The Queen would very much like to purchase such esteemed attire, but owing to Her Majesty's revenue and customs agents being tied up with the Brexit debacle, regrettably, the appropriate funds are currently unavailable. Due to this unfortunate situation, the Queen, who, as you know, has unquestionably strong mental faculties, has suggested bartering for the acquisition of the aforementioned apparel instead, and proposes the following. In exchange for one small Hypershock jacket, the Queen shall 1. For the duration of 6 months, cease all posting of the portrait entitled Will in a Mankini on any social media platform. Additionally, the Queen shall not replace the aforementioned portrait with any other item of deplorable clothing. This is inclusive of, but not limited to, bikinis, thongs, socks with sandals, corsets, tutus, crocs, flare jeans, boob tubes, gingham dresses, fluorescent Birkenstocks, spandex, or full BDSM regalia. I'm sure we can all appreciate that the latter is particularly painful sacrifice for the Queen and should be noted as clear evidence of her seriousness in this matter. Secondly, the Queen will wear said jacket whenever Hypershock is on BattleBot, even if Nelly the Ellybot is on the same episode. Thirdly, the Queen will announce her unwavering belief that Hypershock is the best bot by videographic means. And finally, the Queen will decree a new law throughout Buckinghamshire that all garden tools must be painted in Hypershock livery. Should these terms be agreeable to Lord Bales, the Queen eagerly awaits the arrival of her small Hypershock jacket and assures him that she won't lick it upon arrival. Back to you, Dale.
You're a knob. Anyway, hi, Will.
Hi, Dale. That's quite the list of promises there.
That is, I wholeheartedly mean all of them.
All of them?
With the possible exception of number 4, because Buckinghamshire technically doesn't exist. There we go. So, on to more slightly sensible matters. We have some fights to recap, and you're up first, Will.
Yeah.
You, Hypershock, went up against BreakerBox, and I have a question for you, actually. How bad do you feel that Hypershock got stuck on the kill slots 3 times, BreakerBox freed you, only to be counted out with 2 seconds to go?
Well, if you watch the episode, you'll see my face of pure joy and enthusiasm when we, air quotes, won the fight, because it doesn't feel good to win that way. Jim's a really nice guy, and Jim and Clay are awesome, and we only won because they unstuck us. Whether that was by accident or design, we owe the win to them. I think I said it in every possible interview I could, so if they block it out, it's not for lack of trying. But once again, thank you, Jim and Clay, because we started off really good and then totally went down the tubes.
I quite like that they did better than they did against Bloodsport, because I think Bloodsport looked really good, but because they're a rookie team, people could be forgiven for having their reservations about it. And then the fight against BreakerBox happened, and I described it last week as the front fell off of BreakerBox. But yeah, BreakerBox was thankfully much more back on form with his fight with you. He certainly did better with you against Bloodsport, and that's an odd way round to do it, isn't it? It's like I did much better against a seasoned veteran than I did against a rookie.
Well, Bloodsport has a bigger weapon, so it can put in some bigger hits for in the first couple seconds and rip off the front. And so when you rip someone's face off, that does kind of set the pace for 3 minutes. But Jim's been doing this forever, and after BattleBots ended on Comedy Central, he was using BreakerBox for like a decade before he brought it to BattleBots. So he knows how that thing works, and he's beaten a whole myriad of robots, the who's who of everyone, at robo games and everything. So it's a real robot, forced to be reckoned with, and Jim knows how to drive it. And they've just been having bad luck this season. So this was supposed to be our easy fight, but I didn't necessarily think it was gonna be.
I wouldn't have counted BreakerBox as an easy fight. But then again, I'm not the fans who don't know necessarily about robo games, because probably the average viewer doesn't know about robo games.
No, Robo Games is a competition in the United States. It was the only heavyweight event that wasn't BattleBots. It's currently on indefinite hiatus, but that's where Tombstone and Minotaur and Breaker Box and Free Shipping and a whole bunch of those robots. That's where they kind of figured everything out and got a formula that works.
I want to fight them for one reason, Breaker Box, that is. It's because they have that fancy screen on the top. That wants bonking.
Well, apparently we were the only ones to hit it, and Jim was gracious but really bummed out that we hit the screen.
I mean, especially after he helped you out. I mean,
right, yeah. Adding insult to injury, we just broke his pretty screen.
I mean, you're just horrible to him in this fight, Will. You should hang your head in shame.
I'm pretty much the worst person ever.
Aww. Do you have anything else that you would like to add to this fight? If not, we will move on to Yeti versus Tantrum.
No, I want to pretend it never happened.
Okay, so Shuntposting, if you're listening, Will wants to pretend that this fight never happened. So everyone forget about it. It never happened. We were, in fact, discussing a robot called
Hypershock.
Versus Broken Cube. Oh,
Smooth. Just edit it out. It'll be fine.
Oh, it's the joy of audio editing. Okay, well, fair enough. So we're going to move on to Yeti versus Tantrum. Greg Gibson once again claimed to have no strategy for this fight, but I think he was lying. He was out to bully Tantrum, right? If they were vehicles, it was like a bulldozer versus a moped.
Yeah, he always says he doesn't have a strategy, but his strategy is to just go full on, full force, face into fist. That is the strategy. He's done it consistently for 3 seasons now.
I don't have a strategy other than my usual strategy, which is to bulldoze my opponent and hope it works.
It sometimes works for you.
It's all right. It's unfortunate for Tantrum that they didn't really get properly up and running like they wanted to. But yeah, good fight.
I want Tantrum to continue with the fist spinner because I don't feel like it's a useless weapon. I just feel it needs to be like more dialed in, if that makes sense. Would you agree with that, Will?
Yeah.
I think it needs to be larger in diameter. It's so sunken into the robot that it has to be such a perfect, all the planets have to align for them to get a real perfect shot in that I think it's not going to work in that form factor. I think the concept is sound, and if you saw any of their testing videos that they posted on YouTube, it is rightfully scary what it can do when it gets everything to work properly. But anything super technical and super precise in robots is just not going to happen. So adjust accordingly.
Okay, we will move on to Copperhead versus Warhawk, and I think it's a real shame because Warhawk was a top 16 bot last season, and this one just has kind of been really disappointing for them by comparison. Although I hope they're at least still laughing about what Hydra did to them. I mean, but in this fight, they were well and truly outverted by Copperhead.
No, I thought Warhawk would win this one, I'll be honest. But Copperhead just got right hits and won.
I think Copperhead looked actually the scariest it's looked this season. Like it was, but by this point in the competition, like it was much more dialed in and was like, ooh, actually that's very scary.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I was happy to see Copperhead working properly. When I saw it for the first time, it brought back memories of Poison Arrow from season 2, with everything just kind of dialed up to the max. And it was so robustly built, and Zach and that whole team are so well put together and so squared away that
they have Robert Cowan as well.
Yeah, they have Cowan. They have 2 sofas in their pit. Like, they were so legit. I was jealous of their pit.
Yeah, they had the famous lounge area by themselves, didn't they? There was the Roboteers lounge area provided by BattleBots, which was, it was reasonable. And then there was the luxury of the Copperhead pit table area thing. They were spread.
Oh, so good. Craigslist used at its peak.
We should coin the phrase pit spreading. Right, as like the equivalent to like man spreading on the subway or tube for the British people.
What about copper spread?
Ah,
Spread.
Yes, it was a copper spread. Okay, we'll go for that. If any other team does it, it's pit spreading. But if these guys do it, it's copper spreading.
Fair enough.
So Bite Force versus Monsoon, and I missed this one because I blinked. But well done to Monsoon for landing at least one hit on Bite Force. But it only took 2 hits from Bite Force to KO them. What can you say? Dale, F for Monsoon.
Yeah, massive F.
Yeah, double, triple F.
They were probably still reeling from Valkyrie, maybe.
Yeah, they were having issues the whole time.
They should have stayed inside their damn house.
Oh, oh dear, we're here all night. I feel like I can't really sort of say anymore because it will make Tom relive the misery. I'm sorry, Tom, but F for you guys. So my fight of the night: free shipping versus Railgun Max. I'm gonna say it now. I'm fucking salty about this fight.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do not blame the judges. I blame the rules, right? Don't blame the players. Blame the game, right? But yeah, I don't know. I felt like Railgun Max won that fight. They did quite a lot of damage to free shipping. I admittedly would have docked control points from them for knocking free shipping upside down twice and not attacking it before it self-righted itself, because I thought there was 2 opportunities they definitely missed there.
No, I was screaming at them.
Yeah, so was I. The second one in particular, I was like, "What? Why did you not go for it? You could have, taken out their Shremek." But yeah, I don't know. I'm not a BattleBots judge, and I don't make the rules. So it's my humble fan opinion, and I felt that Railgun Max had this. Will, would you like to cast your opinion?
Railgun Max committed the cardinal sin of a spinning weapon robot. They let it go to the judges. Once you let it go to the judges, all bets are off. Because all they care about, all they can remember is the last 30 seconds. And what happened in the last 30 seconds? They lost their weapon and they got pushed into the hammer. That's all that matters.
This is true.
I don't really sort of see what there is to be salty about, I'll be honest. Not as much as I have been in the past with other fights.
Okay, fight me.
I'll come around next week and fight you. No, it's just like, what was the fight a few weeks ago? We're up against Copper. That one I felt was a lot more, I was salty about that one. So, I felt like that's the same sort of situation. So if you're salty about that, I would right to be salty about that one. So I guess we will have our moments, to be fair. But it was an alright fight. Free shipping's always fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, it was a great fight.
Visually, yeah.
Whatever I feel about the decision at the end, and whether I'm right or wrong on that, I don't care. I'm salty about that, and I'm allowed to be salty about that if I want to be. So there, right? But that aside, it was a wicked fight, though.
Yeah,
it was
wonderful.
Yeah,
it was a real back and forth. Maybe not for the last 30 seconds where it obviously counted for the judges, but before that, your eyes didn't know where to go. Railgun Max's spinner was doing damage, but Gary was fighting back with everything he had as well, and it was visually spectacular.
I just wish Gary would use his weapon more.
He only used it when he was self-righting, and I sort of wondered why he didn't use it a bit more.
Then it's not really a weapon now, is it?
Oh, do elaborate.
Well, if you're only using it to self-right, it's not a weapon. And the whole point is that you have to have an active weapon. And here's where I get, annoyed with this fight, is that they didn't use their primary weapon, ever. Yes, Railgun Max's didn't work, by the end of the match, but Gary's never was used other than to self-right. So if the judging criteria is about active use of your weapon counting towards aggression, then I don't see how they won.
I agree with you.
Could say that's an original sin.
It's the same reason that Gruff versus Tombstone upset everybody. The Gruff was pushing him around the whole time, taking damage, but wasn't using their primary weapon enough. And even in that fight, they at least did the somersault in the air with picked up Tombstone for a second.
Yeah, Gruff's balls were so big at that moment. Right?
Oh, massive steel agricultural balls.
Absolutely. That's going to be my next ringtone, is Will Bales saying steel agricultural balls. Because Will totally doesn't think we're weird at all. No. 2, Uppercut versus Scorpios. Now, this fight broke my heart because both teams were our pit neighbours at BattleBots, right? I had Scorpios to the left of me and Uppercut to the right. Here I am, stuck in the pits with you. I'm so sorry.
You had to go there.
I had to go there, I'm sorry. Both teams, but particularly Scorpios, were super helpful to us in the pit, and we definitely had some, overwhelmed newbie moments, and they were amazing. The Uppercut guys helped us out a load as well and lent us a whole bunch of stuff. So yeah, I really did not want my 2 pit neighbours to fight. Given how experienced the Scorpios team is, I think it's fair to say Uppercut was the underdog of this fight, and I always want to root for the underdog, but not when they chop the wheels off of my beloved Scorpios. I'm really upset about that. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know the word to use. Could back and forth between them. Could use a weapon. I was just a bit sad about how Uppercut didn't have its uppercut.
Yeah, they didn't use the fist.
Yeah,
they need a sharper fist,
right?
But other than that, yeah, it's pretty good.
We like to make fisting jokes on Shuntposting, and we can't.
Did you catch, so Alex Satori was driving, and the kid next to him, Mason, he said, wait for a good hit.
We did notice that, and we are very disappointed with them at Shuntposting, because this expression is only applicable to hammer and axe bots, right?
I don't know. It apparently applies to fisting robots too.
It does not, Mr. Bales, and I will argue this point until I am blue in the face. It was spoken by the mighty John Reed of the Axe and Hammer crew. It's only applicable to hammerbots. Look, I mean, hammerbots get called useless so often, right? You can at least let us have this catchphrase.
So this is your word. This is your phrase.
This is the hammerbot crew phrase. Nobody else can say it. We get told so many times that hammers are terrible and no one should build them. Thanks, Al Kindle. And more frequently get told we should instead build verts, which is not going to happen.
But what is a fisting vertical spinner other than a very fast backwards firing hammer that goes all the way around?
It's still a spinner because it goes all the way around.
But it has a fist.
It does, so it's more like wait for a good punch.
Yeah, but wait for a good fist sounds much better.
It does, and if they'd said wait for a good fist, I would have been fully on board with it. But they didn't. They stole the John Reed line, and I'm absolutely disgusted with them. But there we go. Congratulations to the Uppercut team for winning that fight. And we shall move on to the main event, which I think is possibly the most long-awaited fight of the season so far. Would anybody argue that point?
Not at all. I didn't get to see it at filming, so I was anxious, waiting to see what was going to happen. I knew the results, but I didn't see it.
Yeah, I did, and I couldn't wait to see it again. I mean, the footage you get in the pits is okay, but obviously you don't get any of the commentary, and you don't get you not always get the replays, and you don't always get the best camera angles, right? So obviously seeing the final edited version of it and getting all the best camera angles is much better. And I was so excited to see, the post-production version of this fight. And yeah, there was a new flipper in town. Hydra was flipping fantastic, and Bronco was a bit of a flop. Oh, shots fired.
Oh. Bronco the flopper.
It really just hasn't been up to much this season, has it? It's not been their season, has it?
Yeah, they started off rough with Fight Force, and then their thing broke, which, you know, I'm sure that never happens, but, you know, it broke. And then it broke. They're not supposed to be doing bad. And even like the lead up to the fight, they're like, well, they gotta win this fight if they have any chance of getting into the Sweet 16. How are they going to justify giving a 1-in-3 robot a spot in the Sweet 16?
Right?
That's how badly they wanted Bronco to do well. That's how well Bronco should have done, but they fell flat on their face. And I understand how that can happen given my season last year.
we don't talk about that. Although we did have some fun with burger memes.
Oh yeah, but it happens, and sometimes, you know, things just don't go your way, and there's no recovering from it, and you just kind of have to walk away and try again next season.
Well, you've been on form this season though, and you are sucking less.
I am proud to say we are quantifiably sucking less.
Awesome. So we're going to move on to the Shuntposting Awards. Are you ready, Will?
Yes.
Okay, so first up is the John Reed Good Hit of the Night Award. We have 3 nominations for this one. We have Hydra's Big Flip Flips, Breaker Box freeing Hypershock for a wholesome Good Hit award, and Monsoon punishing the floor. Because this wasn't in an action replay, right? But I spotted it, that when Monsoon got flipped upside down by Bite Force, they took a pretty big chunk out of the floor, which,
yes, they did.
In the spirit of being wholesome, I would like to think was to punish the floor for getting Hypershock stuck. So, Will, you're our guest. Which of those would you like to vote for?
I have to vote for Hydra. Hydra's just wonderful and awesome in every way. And I love Jake.
I'm going to have to go for Monsoon.
Wrong, but okay.
Ooh. Do I side with British loyalty or
fact?
Depends how many jackets we're talking about, Will.
I don't know. One team's. We've had so many requests for jackets. I don't even know what I'm gonna do. We're trying to figure it out. so just take a chill with the jacket. I'll get you the jacket. Just relax.
Yay!
It's gonna happen.
I have to say that Hydra is just awesome. So, and also Monsoon has won a few awards before. So I'm gonna go with Hydra. So congratulations, Hydra! Woo! Your big flip flips win the John Reed Good Hit of the Night Award for episode 13. And on to the Salt Powered Robot Award. We have 2 nominations for this one. We have Railgun Max's Judge's Decision and also the Branco Boys. Dale, I'll come to you first on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Railgun Max.
I thought you would go with the Branco Boys because you said earlier that you weren't that salty about that fight.
Yeah, I know, but I was kind of going with what most people would go for.
Oh, fair enough. Okay. So, Will, the judge's decision of Railgun Max or the Branco Boys?
Oh, Railgun Max judge's decision, hands down. The Bronco having a bad season and being out flipped by a new robot with a new technology, I'm okay with that. It sucks for them, but you know, it's okay. That's just the way things happen.
This is true. Well, I was fucking salty about Railgun Max's judge's decision, so I am absolutely voting for that. And I'll make it unanimous, unlike this judge's decision. So congratulations, Railgun Max! The judge's decision wins the Salt Powered Robot Award. And that leaves us...
When I say Elaine, you say woo. Elaine.
Woo! Oh dear. So, finally onto the Shunty McShuntpost Award for the most memeable. We have 3 nominations for this one. We have Farouk DMC, we have Elaine Wu's Free Whisking, and also Branco. So, Will, who would you like to vote for?
I'm giving it to Branco. They need something. They need something. Come on.
I was going to go for Railgun Max, but after Will said that, I've got to go with Branko.
I loved Farouk doing a bit of Run DMC though.
Oh, it was good. Don't get me wrong, but Branko needs something.
Well, to be fair, 2 of you have voted for Branko, so Branko's going to win anyway. So I'm going to cast my vote for Farouk DMC as like an honourable mention, shall we say? So congratulations, Branko! Woo-hoo! You win the Shunty McShuntpost Award.
Your participation award.
Well done. So that leaves us on to the final section, which is probably going to be Will's favourite part of the Shuntcast. Yay! It's the member questions.
Oh my. Can't imagine what the first one's going to be.
Oh, have a guess. Go on.
What does Will Bales smell like?
That's not the first question.
Thank goodness! We've turned a new leaf.
So your first question is, how many bales will Will Bales bail if Will Bales could bail Wills?
I could bail Wills. Well, let's see. If I was in jail, or if a whole bunch of other Wills were in jail, I'm gonna go with 3.
Okay.
Yeah, 3. Final answer.
Can
that's the number
you
of Wills
explain?
I can think of at this moment. Well, there's the Will at work, there's Will Osmond, and there's Will Sedgwick. Those are all 3 Wills that I can think of at this moment. So, not that Will Thomas impersonating bastard, but you know, it's a different thing.
I wasn't expecting an answer for that one, to be honest. Can you give advice on how to suck less?
Step 1: throw away everything that doesn't work. I think mostly it was shame powered. After a season of dancing around in silly onesies and an internet full of hearty memes, the point is driven home, and everyone else on the team's like, "Hey, that sucked, and we need to suck a reduced amount." So we came up with the mantra of sucking less, and somehow we managed to pull that off.
Yay!
It was a low bar, but we did.
Question 3: what do you smell like?
Damn it! Okay. It depends. Right now, I probably smell like an airplane.
You've been flying. Where are you?
I'm back home in Miami, so now I smell like sweat and airplane.
And a little bit of tiny hurricane.
Yeah, and, just a soupçon of hurricane.
When Bugglebots?
I'll tell you next week.
Oh.
Whenever I actually get Sarah her jacket. One or the other.
Joe, hurry up and get Bugglebots out. Oh, this is a sensible question. Are you ready for this? Are you ready, Will? Prepare yourself.
Okay.
What did your parents do to encourage your interest as a child, and how can I encourage my children's engineering interests?
Well, I grew up in a unique house. I grew up with a machine shop in my garage. My dad's an engineer. He coached the robotics team in elementary school and helped us get our start. And so most of the Hypershock team actually, we all started building robots together in high school. In fact, Tyler and I, the other guy who karate chopped the button this episode, he and I have been doing this together since we were in 4th grade. So Tyler and I have been doing this for 16 years. But my parents just kind of encouraged it and went to robotics competitions and helped where they could. And everyone else on the team that maybe their parents weren't the coach, but just having an environment and being supportive of that it was cool. As far as I'm aware, there are far more professional fighting robot builders from our high school than there are professional sports players. So,
Wow.
So it's just kind of letting them do whatever. Get them started. Go to an event. Go to a local event. That's the best thing you can do.
Will Hypershock challenge Sonic the Hedgehog to a race?
If Sonic the Hedgehog stops scaring little children in movie trailers, then yeah, sure.
Oh, it looks so bad, doesn't it? So, question 7. What does Sarah smell like?
Bonk.
And
Shunt.
And Shunt. Ah, that's lovely. I saw Shunt recently, or at least I saw the replica recently at RoboNerd, which is lovely.
Yes.
I saw pictures of that.
I made a Shunt post out of it. Ho ho.
Oh dear. How do you beat Blackballs?
Shaming and antagonism is starting to work for us, but we still need a little bit more. I don't know, man. Here's the problem. Byforce and Paul have one goal. It's to show up and win. Hypershock has two goals. One, to look badass, and to try to win. And so if you try to just give up being badass and cool and different and unique, if you can accept that you're not a snowflake, then you can win, and you can probably beat Byforce. But until that happens, people are having a really hard time.
Or you could be Chomp.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or you could be Chomp.
Question 9. Would you consider building Hyper Spark and entering it into Bugglebot?
Maybe. Let's see. When Bugglebots, though?
Oh, well, it would have to be season 3, which as yet is not confirmed. But I can say we'd very much like to do a series 3. So that's a good start, you know, because if the producers didn't want to do it, that wouldn't be very helpful. But I would guess work at maybe spring onwards. I couldn't see it being before spring because we have quite an extended application period because it gives newbies a chance to get building and have something more to show us by the end of the application process. So I couldn't see it being before spring. So, you know, plenty of lead time, Will. And you get like a 2-month application period, and then there's like another 2 months until the competition. And then there will be no next weeking, put it that way.
I don't know how to use this time that you're speaking of.
So basically,
like
you could even work on other robots while you were working on your Bugglebot.
Like a real BattleBot? Like Hypershock? Because it would be right around BattleBots?
To be fair, we would deliberately plan Bugglebots not to conflict with BattleBots.
That's a smart move.
It's a very smart move. Because we don't want to lose Drizzle, right?
Nope.
Because Drizzle is very popular on the show. We like the Americans coming over as well. And the ones we've had before are BattleBots fans and may well go to filming, you know, as fans. So we would not want them to have to choose between competing on Bugglebots or attending BattleBots filming.
Right.
And also it would mean a crew shortage potentially as well.
Also, yes.
You know,
intimidate people if Tim's not there.
Right, so yeah, we could lose Tim, we could lose Shane, we could lose me.
Tim Rackley.
Timothy Rackley. Oh dear, I can't hear them say that without picturing Tim with a monocle.
When they said that on the show, it's like, oh, those idiots! They said his name wrong. Fools! It's clearly Rackers, and I was lied to. I was betrayed.
My favorite thing on the BattleBots website was on the Monsoon page this season where it said, "What's your favorite tool?" and Tom Brewster submitted Tim Rackers.
Nice.
So.
How relieved were you after giving Sarah her shirt and the when shirt question stopped being asked?
It only came with the knowledge that when jacket would come soon thereafter. So it was short-lived relief.
Aww. I have to ask one more question though, actually. Which poor member of the Hypershock team opened the email I sent you?
I think it was Kyle. Kyle's the most responsible person, and so he probably responded.
I am offended actually because I got a stock reply, and
well,
I was insulted.
We have patches on hand for like 6 jackets. And then, you know, sponsors want one, and other people want one, family members want one, friends want one. And we're like, well, we have like a couple left, so let's just see if anyone wants them. And then all of a sudden, we've been flooded with emails, and we're like, oh crap, we need to put up like a form request, and then we put up the form request, and so now we have an order of magnitude more jacket requests than we anticipated. So I'm sorry that you got a canned response.
At least you apologised. I'm very sad. I put lots of thought into that email, but I accept your apology in the form of a jacket.
A free one.
A free one, yes.
Yeah.
Well, there's this bloody Brexit shit show going on at the moment, and we can't be giving away money,
Don't be silly to the colonies. Poppycock, sir.
Yes, absolute bloody shambles, a whole bloody lot of it. Oh, but there we go. No politics on shunt posting. It's against the rules. We reserve the right to be a dictatorship and delete your political posts. So there we go. I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen, that's the end of the member questions, and that's the end of the Shuntcast.
Aww.
Only joking, another hour to go.
Whoa, yeah!
Will, do you have anything you'd like to say to our listeners? Well, to shunt posting in general.
To all the people who want jackets, I hate you because now I have to deal with this.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's goodbye from Dale.
Bye-bye.
It's goodbye from Lord Bales.
Good riddance.
And it's goodbye from the Queen. Goodbye.
Goodbye.